Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, Dr. Markan Saikia's talk on foreign affairs. Today we are going to discuss a very important issue, that is Abraham Accord. As the crisis in the Middle East or in West Asia is raising, it's going bad to worse. A big question mark is coming on the relevance of the Abraham Accord. Right. So now we just need to focus on how this accord started, who are the parties involved, right? What is the future of this accord, and why this accord is at stake at this moment. So, when you look at this accord, only question that comes to my mind is that when it started or it was signed in 2020, everyone, including me, thought it's the beginning of a new era in West Asia or in Middle East. But what's happening now? Why this has been, you know, branded as the beginning of a new era in West Asia? Let's have a look. The Abraham Accord was signed between Israel, Bahrain, and United Arab Emirates, that is UAE, on September 15, 2020. It was fully mediated and backed by then President Donald Trump and his administration to make permanent peace in the West Asian region. The accord, when we go back to its wordings, rightly says, we, the undersigned, recognize the importance of maintaining and strengthening peace in the Middle East and around the world based on mutual understanding and coexistence, as well as respect for human dignity and freedom, including religious freedom. The accord again says, we encourage efforts to promote interfaith and intercultural dialogue to advance a culture of peace among three Abrahamic religions and all humanity. Also, the accord highlights the idea that the best way to address challenges is through cooperation and dialogue. That is true. Tolerance and respect for every person is emphasized, irrespective of his or her fate in this particular accord. What are the main goals of this accord? First of all, the accord was to normalize diplomatic relations and bring home peace between Israel, its Arab neighbors, and Morocco and Sudan. Next, it is to counter Iran and Islamic terror, as these two are common threats for all the signatory nations of the Abraham Accord. Thirdly, to support the two-state solutions to put an end to the decades-long conflict between Israel and Palestine. It aims to prevent Israel's plans to annex parts of Gaza and to encourage negotiation and dialogue for resolving all the disputes. Next, to promote economic, cultural, and technological exchanges between all the signatory nations. Further, it aims to enhance trade, investment, innovation, and tourism among all these countries. Finally, to advance strategic partnership between the US and its allies in West Asia so as to strengthen their security and influence in this war-torn or trouble-torn region. Now, friends, let's look at the background of the accord. Foreign policy experts across the globe are widely divided on the reasons behind the signing of the Abraham Accord. This accord was mediated by the US to pave the way for normalization of relations among three nations in West Asia, as I had told you. It was indeed an unprecedented move initiated by Trump administration. Basically, this 12-point agreement highlights the much needed peace to be brought between all these rival nations in the region for decades. In fact, the name Abraham was accorded to the treaty to honor the patriarch of all the three most significant monotheistic religions on this earth: Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Known as the father of faith, Abraham can well be regarded as the unifier of all the three religions, as they draw their origin from him only. While signing the accord, the UAE and Bahrain pledged to normalize relations with Israel. Interestingly, within a week of signing the accord, the two other Muslim nations from the African continent, Sudan and Morocco, also joined the accord. You know, friends, the biggest problem and the worst heat problem and the worst affected area of the Middle East today is no other than Palestine. But sadly, this accord sidelined the issue of Palestine. How and why? Let's have a look. What was surprising was that the issue of Palestine was nowhere pegged, neither to the accord nor to the signatories. Precisely, unrest in Palestine has been the hornet's nest for decades now, for which Israel has turned out to be the arch enemy of many of these Arab nations in the region. Another striking point was that the UAE and other signatories to the agreement did not demand more critical concessions like the end of Israeli annexation of more territories, or most importantly, the final establishment of a Palestinian state in the region. It was very, very surprising. Truly, all this could have been set as preconditions for coming and signing the historic Abraham Accord for Arab nations initially, but they did not do it. But nowhere these issues were raised or discussed at all while signing the accord or before signing the accord. It clearly indicates how the parties to the accord and its high-profile mediator, Trump or America, were trying to push the vexed issues to the background. I mean the Palestine issue. And thus, the understanding among all the three rival nations of West Asia seemed like more of a business deal than a historic diplomatic milestone that is looking for a solution. Now, if we look at what reality has happened, let's have a look. Further, the international community must note here that the deal demanded that Israel refrain from de jure annexation of territories in the most contested West Bank region. But then, who could stop Israel today? It's a very, very powerful nation. Everyone knows how the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been pursuing his larger goal to establish the legitimacy of the state of Israel. And for all practical purposes, he receives full support of Trump administration, then and now Biden administration. This accord had given Netanyahu some important benefits, like first, he proved himself as a world statesman among his voters and sympathizers when he was facing serious allegations of corruption back home. Secondly, he managed to make peace with the Arabs during his reign, but not with the Palestinians. And finally, he was cleverly diverting the attention of the Israeli public from the mismanagement of the COVID-19 crisis by his office in 2020 to 2021. In all, Netanyahu tried to prove himself right and pushed back the Palestinian cause much further. See the tragedy. Now, today, we are standing 3 years after the signing of the Abraham Accord. What has happened? Let's have a look now. All the signatories to the Abraham Accord are still enemies. I must say, arch enemies. But then, why such rival nations wanted to come to the negotiating table? Was it because of America's intervention, both for long-term business and for achieving another milestone in global peace and diplomacy? Many experts say that some of the Gulf states, like the UAE, having global ambition, rightly see business opportunities in normalization of relations with Israel. It seems Washington has already promised Abu Dhabi advanced weapons like the F-35 stealth fighter and EAE-18G Growler electronic warfare aircrafts. See the complexity behind. All these were once inconceivable to the UAE, and these armors are needed both to demonstrate regional leadership and possibly to effectively counter Iran, its potential enemy on the other side of the Gulf. That's a fact. And the interesting point is that both Israel and the US are equally suspicious of the role of Iran, like the way it is perceived by the Emiratis and Bahrain. Till 1969, Iran used to claim Bahrain as a part of its territory. Therefore, even today, restive Shia majority of Bahrain are regarded as the fifth column of Iran by the successive rulers of the country. The UAE and Bahrain can easily explore business opportunities in the Jewish state, particularly in its most advanced high-tech sector. On the other hand, these two Gulf states can easily attract millions of Israeli tourists who are avid holidaymakers all around the world. Now, friends, what is the impact of this particular accord on Iran? Another significant impact of the deal is that Iran is now fully surrounded by all its enemies in the region, the Sunni regimes accompanied by an all-powerful Israel, now more organized. This accord has brought an added pressure both to the clerics and to the political leadership of Iran. Alongside the tough economic sanctions of Washington, Tehran is now facing a strong strategic pain too, which could be long-lasting as well. Clearly, once again, the long-struggling Palestinians for a homeland are feeling betrayed by the accord. This agreement breaks the decades-long understanding among the Arab nations that normal ties with Israel could be established only when an independent Palestinian state would be formed. But it proved to be wrong. Sadly, Israel, since last year, on one hand, is coming closer to major nations of West Asia and Africa, while continuing its occupation tactics both in the West Bank and in East Jerusalem. And on the background, the Palestinians are languishing and fighting for their fundamental freedoms and their own birthplace. Moreover, this accord finally has enhanced the status of Israel in the West Asian region. In a sense, it has clearly put an end to the isolation of the Jewish state among the Arab nations. And definitely, America is celebrating after offering Israel a golden opportunity to establish its identity among the most powerful Gulf states of the Middle East. Now, friends, what is the reality behind the Abraham Accord? What is now at stake? West Asia or Middle East is trembling as paradigm shift is happening faster than expected. Stable peace still eludes West Asia. And the question is how far? Probably chaos in this part of Asia is a never-ending process. Frankly speaking, establishing normal ties among the nations is a positive development in international relations. But when it comes to Abraham Accord, it could be a misnomer to say so. Nowhere it promises any hope for normalcy between Israel and the rest of West Asia. The central point here is the establishment of the Palestinian state, and it's not happening and may not come to reality soon. This agreement was a great victory for Trump, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, and the de facto ruler of the Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, and forever Prime Minister of Israel, you can say Netanyahu. In fact, all of them needed the accord more than anyone else. What is the future of this Abraham Accord today? Looking at the crisis or the fight between the Hamas and the Israeli state. The Joe Biden administration is fully supportive of normalization of relations between Israel and the rest of the Arab nations. But unfortunately, his regime is not able to offer the same inducements to the new Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett of Israel, when he was in power. But now, Benjamin Netanyahu, after taking over, he is keeping connect with Washington very well. And the rest has remained the same, as every single day new wounds are appearing both in the Gaza Strip, West Bank, and in East Jerusalem. The Palestinians are crying foul over the occupation of their indigenous lands by the Israeli state. The great peacemakers and the global governance institutions are mute spectators to one of the oldest boiling points of West Asia, that's no other than Palestine. With a war between the Hamas and the Israel entering more than 18 days now, the hope for peace in West Asia is very, very bleak. Finally, unless the Israeli occupation ends and the issue of permanent Palestine are addressed, the Abraham Accord will simply pass on to a footnote for sure. So friends, it's a very, very contrasting topic, very, very complex issue. Definitely I'll be bringing more updates on this issue in my next videos. We all know very well that crisis in Israel, between Israel and the Hamas are on. I don't know when it is going to be over, but we all hope and pray that peace comes back and innocent lives are not lost anymore. So friends, thank you once again for watching my videos. My humble request to all of you is that kindly watch, share, like, and subscribe my channel. Thank you once again, and bye bye till the next lecture.